A decision has been made. I need to go strip that wire off there. See if I can zoom in on it for you. Yeah, I need to strip that back. And I don't want to pull all the harness all the way out if I can avoid it. I'll pull the harness through from the other side and strip the wire off, and then I should be able to get to the bad wire, which I think I previously mentioned I may not even be replacing, but I need to see the damage. It is so awkward to get to that position there. I have made the executive decision. I'm going to take the bonnet off. And as I'm by myself, that's going to be tricky, but I've done it before. I'll do it again. Lots of padding around so that when it does finally come off, it doesn't damage the paintwork. Now I could call a friend, as they say, but without going into too much detail, I'm taking certain drugs at the moment, and they're having an adverse effect upon me, and it means I can only work a few moments at a time. And I'm not going to waste my friend's time by doing a minute's work and stopping, doing a minute's work and stopping. So that's what's going to be done. I'm probably not going to show you me taking the bonnet off, but I might, because then it'd give you a good laugh, wouldn't it? Hey Craig, how about this for the paint? Oh boy. Well, that was exciting. I haven't changed my underwear yet, so it might smell a bit. Yes, that is slightly nerve-wracking doing that. However, planning all the rags. And I had previously marked where the hinges are with a felt tip pen. And I checked that that felt tip pen can be removed just using some brake cleaner. So that's not a problem. So once I get it all back on in the right position and it works, then I'll clean the pen off. Now I can actually reach over here to get, sorry, I puffed me out a bit doing that, to get to the wiring harness by using the ladder. I just want to throw this in here and love to know what anybody thinks. These two black wires here go all the way up here to this wire that is attached to the starter solenoid. Right at this second I couldn't tell you where, but I know it does. It may just be on the wall bracket or firewall bracket. Why would you run two similar black wires through a harness and have them return back to the same place, or at least backwards into the interior of the car, when you could have simply just put a ground wire from the harness to the body of the car? Why would you waste money, Sir William, on doing this? Interesting thought. Yeah, I mean, initially I thought there was just one black wire there. There's two. Well, there's obviously three if you include the braided one. I'm just looking at the ones that are burnt. Fortunately, the braided one, I'm assuming, is a higher gauge wire. Although I think the gauge numbers work in opposite, don't they? Bigger the number, smaller the wire. Not sure. Don't really care. So I'm getting there. I'm going to now trim a bit more down here. See if I can figure out what the damage is. Then I've got to tape all this up again and make it look as neat as I can and get shit back to where it should be. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Now back to your main program. Is right next to you. I'm going to have to try and pull some through, as I've mentioned. We'll see how that goes. I may do a few other things while I've got this bonnet off, I'm not sure yet. The one thing I have got to deal with is that the drain tap on the block leaks. Yeah, I know. A Jaguar that leaks, I don't believe it either, but hey, it's leaking. So maybe it's not shut tight enough. So I may give it a little tippy tap tap. We will see. Or as, what was his name? Ed Shed? No, not Ed Shed. Gosh, I can't think of the guy's name. Maybe it was Ed Shed. He was telling a story in his last video about whacking with a hammer, and a story about a clock. But no, you go look at his channel. I'll leave a link to the video in the description. You go to his video and watch it till he talks about the clock and the wacky thingy. It's amusing, and he is an extremely interesting and knowledgeable guy. So if you like engineering type stuff, car stuff, check him out. I think it's called Ed Shed. Yeah, pretty sure it's called Ed Shed. But I promise I'll leave a link to that particular video in the description, and then you can subscribe to him, do what you want. Right, first thing I'm going to do is get this down, because it's going to hurt. And I'm going to have to do that with something a little stronger than just my arms. I need some leverage. or if you're in America, leverage. And if you're anywhere else, brute force and ignorance. I believe if you run out of brute force and ignorance, I believe that Classic Car Dave, he has a bag of brute force and ignorance, and he lends it to me occasionally, and I'm pretty good with it. I don't use a lot, but I use some. I'll tell you what. You wait there. Let me get a brute force and ignorance bar. And here's one I made earlier, but doesn't fit. Now, of course, Dave will know I didn't return all his ignorance bars. Now all I got to do is hope that that doesn't decide to come up when I'm laying across there, because I got to lay across here. Yes, with blankets, etc. Don't worry, Craig, it's okay. Now, in case you're wondering, which you're probably not, these are from Harbour Freight. Yes, I know I mention them a lot. They don't seem to want to sponsor me, which is a shame, but there you go. These are like $7, I think. And I want to say they're made of paper. They're thick, but they're made of paper. You can't wash them. You use them, they're dirty, you throw them away. So, that will be my bed for the next few hours while I try and deal with the wire. Not sure how far I'll get today, and whether I'll put this video out now or later. If I do decide to push it out now, which is looking imminent, I think I'd better say my catchphrase: get out in that garage, go do some shit. I got a lot of shit to do still. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, regarding auto sparks, they have tried to be helpful, is what I will say. I asked them for a schematic regarding the wiring harnesses that they make, so that I knew where this particular black wire was and the route it took and where it came out. They sent me a picture of a Jaguar Mark II wiring diagram. Obviously, as I'm restoring this Mark II, I have more fucking wiring diagrams than I know what to do with. So then I said, no, I want the schematic, and explained how I wanted it to look. And as that they were probably some of the only people that actually have that diagram, because they make the harnesses, and that's what I needed. Someone that says it goes from point A to point B, C, D, whatever. Instead they say, oh, can you send us a photograph? If I could send you a photograph, then I would know what route the wire took, wouldn't I? So that's kind of pointless. Now, I believe they were trying to be helpful. As it turns out, I have found out, and I believe I mentioned it in my previous video, I found out where the wires go to and from. In fact, let me show you one thing that I discovered. You can see there on the firewall, just to the left lower area of the starter solenoid, black. That black is burn. That black is where the wire burnt to. So that wire came from the overdrive switch, which I still don't understand, and to the starter solenoid, and burnt its way all the way there. It didn't seem to go in that direction. However, because the harness was there, I guess the smoke just drifted along. I don't know. I've got to double check that before I go too far to make sure that that black only went from the ignition, from the overdrive switch to the starter solenoid, and it didn't travel that way for some reason. Maybe there was a join in it. I don't know. I've got to find out. Okay. Yeah, I really am going to put this out now. It's just because, as I mentioned previously, I've been kind of out of sorts, and I'm trying to get stuff done. I've got lots of honeydews, and for those of you that don't know what the honeydews are, they are things that keep your marriage going. Yes, I mentioned honeydews to my friend, Classic Car Cave Dave, and he didn't even know. Well, that's not fair. He didn't know what honeydews were, and why should he? That's an American thing. But yeah, it's like round tuits, I'll do that when I get around to it. Well, honeydews supersede round tuits by 1,000,000%. Yeah, if you don't do honeydews, you're honey done. So you must do them. And they are my honeydews as well. It's not one-sided. Okay, enough crap. Get out in that garage. Go do some shit. I'm going to do some shit here, and it will be shown in the next video.